Hey guys, welcome back to True Crime with Shannon, where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. Okay, we got the big news today. The judge has decided to unseal the probable cause affidavit relating to the arrest of Richard Allen. Of course, it's redacted, so there's no names that are brought up as far as witnesses are concerned. However, there are 8 pages. Apparently, we get 7 of the 8. I guess the last page with signatures and what have you are not there, but we get most of it and just redacted with the names. But before I get into that, because I'm going to go through every single page and discuss that with you guys, I always feature a missing persons poster on the channel, so let me pull up today's missing persons poster. Today's missing person is Demiah Miah Appling. She has been missing out of Dixie County, Florida. Now, considering that I'm in Orange County, Florida, this is not far from me at all. It looks like she's got family near Old Town. States she has been missing. Let's see. I'm trying to zoom in on this. This poster is a little hard to read. Let's see. Missing child alert out of Dixie County. She's got brown hair, brown eyes. She's 5 foot tall, 110 pounds. Her disappearance is considered suspicious. It is believed that Demiah has her phone with her. Dixie County Sheriff's Office have developed a person of interest. They're asking if you live in the area of Swanee Gardens or Old Town Hammock. Please check your security cameras. She was last seen wearing a black tee, navy blue Nike slides, pink and white shorts, or SpongeBob shorts. She's got a gold necklace with a heart-shaped charm on it. States she was last seen again near Swanee Gardens in Dixie County, Florida, at around 9:30 p.m. on October 16th. So this is over a month ago. Possibly left in a vehicle. Investigators are calling Demiah's disappearance suspicious and have identified areas of interest around Swanee Gardens and Old Town Hammock. If you have any information on her disappearance or you see her, they're asking you contact the Dixie County Sheriff's Office at 877-484-8892 or 911. Make sure that's an 8. That font is a little funky, guys, but it's 877-484-8892 or 911. I'm going to confirm that number and put it in the information of this video because that particular font is bothering my eyes, and I don't know about you guys. So again, though, if you have any information on Demiah Miah Appling, please call 911 or the Dixie County Sheriff's Office. Let's get into the probable cause affidavit. This is all over the web, really. This came out, but it's after 5 now that I got off work, and it's been quite a long week already, and it's only Tuesday after the holiday weekend. Fox 59 is where I'm pulling it from. However, it's everywhere because as soon as they released it, everyone has it. So it's super easy to grab a hold of. And I do highly recommend you, if you're interested in it, besides going through it, that you actually pull it off of Twitter, off their, website, or, or Google Docs, however, you prefer to read it, because it is a lot to it. That's for sure. Let me see if I can pull this up here. Here we go. Okay. Again, it's actually 8 pages, but they have released 7. There's another additional that was released. I'm going to take a look and see what that was. I think the last page is just signatures and what have you, but of course, being that it's missing, it's a little off. But okay, so this is the probable cause affidavit. This is what gave them the probable cause, obviously, to arrest Richard Allen. And this is what they were keeping sealed from us. And there are some revelations in here. And Yeah, I mean, a couple things got surprised me, and I'm gonna probably have to go through it a number of more times, and I'm sure some of you guys as well who've followed this case. It's gonna take a few times going through it and looking back at stuff to kind of piece some things together. So, all right. It states, I, the undersigned affidavit, submit the following pursuant to IC 35-33-7-2 as a sworn affidavit setting forth the facts and circumstances known to law enforcement of Carroll County as the basis for probable cause to arrest without a warrant or to establish probable cause for the issuance of an arrest warrant for the above named defendant, that the facts and circumstances described below would be sufficient basis for a person of reasonable caution and prudence to believe that the accused has committed or attempted to commit the offense or offenses described, and that if arrested without a warrant, such would be authorized under IC 35-33-1-1. That the hearsay statements of witnesses contained herein are considered reliable and credible due to the witness's personal knowledge and or corroborated by the totality of the circumstances. All right, here we go. That on February 14th, 2017, victim 1 and victim 2 were found deceased in the woods approximately 0.2 miles northeast of the Monon High Bridge in Carroll County. Their bodies were located on the north side of Deer Creek. Now, for informational purposes, apparently victim 1 is Abby and victim 2 is Libby. At the time, the Monon High Bridge Trail was approximately a 1 mile gravel trail terminating at the Monon High Bridge. The Monon High Bridge is an abandoned railroad trestle approximately 0.25 miles long, spanning the Deer Creek in Deer Creek Valley on the southeast end of the trail. Approximately 0.7 miles northwest on the trail from the northwestern edge of the Monon High Bridge is the Freedom Bridge, which is a pedestrian bridge spanning State Road 25. Approximately 350 feet west of Freedom Bridge was a former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25, also known as County Road 300 North. The trail terminates just west of the former railroad overpass. The majority of the trail is in a wooded area with a steep embankment on the south side of the trail. The entirety of the trail and location of the girls' bodies were and are located in Carroll County, Indiana. Through interviews, reviews of electronic records, and reviews of video at the Hoosier Harp Store, investigators believe victim 1 and victim 2 were dropped off across from the Mears farm at 1:59 p.m. on February 13th, 2017 by redacted. I believe that's Kelsey, though. The Mears farm is located on the north side of County Road 300 North, near an entrance to the trails. A video from victim 2's phone shows that at 2:13 p.m., victim 1 and victim 2 encountered a male subject on the southeast portion of the Monon High Bridge. The male ordered the girls, guys, down the hill. No witnesses saw them after this time. No outgoing communications were found on victim 2's phone after this time. Their bodies were discovered on February 14th, 2017. The video recovered from victim 2's phone shows victim 1 walking southeast on the Monon High Bridge, while a male subject wearing a dark jacket and jeans walks behind her. As the male subject approaches victim 1 and victim 2, one of the victims mentions gun. Near the end of the video, a male is seen and heard telling the girls, guys, down the hill. The girls then begin to proceed down the hill and the video ends. A still photograph taken from the video and the guys down the hill audio was subsequently released to the public to assist investigators in identifying the male. Victim 1 and victim 2's deaths were ruled as homicides. Clothes were found in the Deer Creek belonging to victim 1 and victim 2, south of where their bodies were located. There was also a .40 caliber unspent round less than 2 feet away from victim 2's body, between victim 1 and victim 2's bodies. The round was unspent and had extraction marks on it. So we had heard rumblings and rumors that one of the girls had mentioned a gun, and that was cut off. And so that's been confirmed through this affidavit, and they found an unspent round. So that tells me that there's definitely was a gun used to make the girls comply with whatever bridge guy wanted them to do. Interviews were conducted with 3 juveniles, redacted and redacted. They advised they were on the Monon High Bridge Trail on February 13th, 2017. They advised they were walking on the trail toward Freedom Bridge to go home when they encountered a male walking from Freedom Bridge toward the Monon High Bridge. Redacted described the male as, quote, kind of creepy, unquote, and advised he was wearing, quote, like blue jeans, a really light blue jacket, and his hair was gray, maybe a little brown, and he did not really show his face, unquote. She advised the jacket was a duck canvas type jacket. Redacted advised she said hi to the male, but he just glared at them. She recalled him being in all black and had something covering his mouth. She described him as, quote, not very tall, unquote, with a bigger build. She said he was not bigger than 5'10". Redacted advised he was wearing a black hoodie, black jeans, and black boots. She stated he had his hands in his pockets. Redacted showed investigators photographs she took on her phone while she was on the trail that day. The photographs included a photo of the Monon High Bridge taken at 12:43 p.m. and another one taken at 1:26 p.m. of the bench east of the Freedom Bridge. Redacted advised after she took the photo of the bench, they started walking back toward the Freedom Bridge. She advised that when they encountered the man who matched the description of the photograph taken from victim 2's photo, that was when they encountered the man who matched the description on the photograph taken from the victim 2's photo, rather. Redacted described the man she encountered on the trail as wearing a blue or black windbreaker jacket. She advised the jacket had a collar and he had his hood up from the clothing underneath his jacket. She advised he was wearing baggy jeans and he was taller than her. She advised her head came up to approximately his shoulder. She said hi to the man. He said nothing back. She stated he was walking with a purpose, like he knew where he was going. She stated he had his hands in his pockets and kept his head down. She advised she did not get a good look at his face, but believed him to be a white male. The girls advised after encountering the male, they continued their walk across Freedom Bridge and the old railroad bridge over Old State Road 25. So there's a little discrepancy, it looks like, in the clothing, but honestly, it could be lighting, all that sort of stuff. So black, blue, to me, I mean, that is not like crazy, because look at all the things we've looked at on the internet with people thinking something's blue and something's gray or what have you. So as far as the color is concerned, that doesn't really, to me, bother me as much as, anything else if they got most of the description of the suspect correct. Investigators spoke with Redacted, who advised she was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. Video from the Hoosier Harvest Store captured Redacted vehicle traveling eastbound at 1:46 p.m. toward the entrance across from the Mears farm. Redacted advised she saw 4 juvenile females walking on the bridge over Old State Road 25 as she was driving underneath on her way to park. Redacted advised there were no other cars parked across from the Mears farm when she parked. She advised she walked to the Monon High Bridge and observed a male matching the one from victim 2's video. She described the male she saw as a white male, wearing blue jeans and a blue jean jacket. She advised he was standing on the first platform of the Monon High Bridge, approximately 50 feet from her. She advised she turned around at the bridge and continued her walk. She advised approximately halfway Between the bridge and the parking area from Mears Farm, she passed two girls walking toward Monon High Bridge. She advised she believed the girls were victim 1 and victim 2. Video from the Hoosier Harvest store shows at 1:49 p.m. a white car matching Redacted's vehicle traveling away from the entrance across from the Mears Farm. Redacted advised she finished her walk and saw no other adults other than the male on the bridge. Her vehicle was seen on Hoosier Harvest store video at 2:14 p.m., leaving westbound from the trails. Redacted advised she was leaving. As she was leaving, she noted a vehicle was parked in an odd manner at the old Child Protective Services building. She said it was odd not for vehicles to be parked there, but she noticed it was odd because of the manner it was parked. It was backed in near the building. Investigators received a tip from Redacted in which she stated he was on his way to Delphi on State Road 25 around 2:10 p.m. on February 13, 2017. He observed a purple PT Cruiser or a small SUV-type vehicle parked on the south side of the old CPS building. He stated it appeared as though it was backed in as to conceal the license plate of the vehicle. Redacted both drew diagrams of where they saw the vehicle parked, and their diagrams generally matched as to the area the vehicle was parked and the manner in which it was parked. Redacted advised he remembered seeing a smaller dark car parked at the old CPS building. He described it as possibly being a smart car. Redacted vehicle is seen leaving at 2:28 p.m. on the Hoosier Harvest store video. So that's interesting. So, for those that know, PT Cruisers, I don't think they make them anymore, but a PT Cruiser was definitely, I don't think you can just, go say that's a small SUV, but I suppose if you're not familiar with SUVs or cars too well, you could. I mean, I used to work for Hertz and we drove all kinds of vehicles, and I don't consider myself a car, expert, not even remotely, but I could definitely tell the difference between a PT Cruiser or an SUV, but at the same time, not a lot of people do pay attention to that. And I'll tell you what, PT Cruisers are not great cars. All right. Investigators spoke with Redacted, who stated she was traveling east on 300 North on February 13th, 2022, and observed a male subject walking west on the north side of 300 North, away from the Monon High Bridge. Redacted advised that the male subject was wearing a blue-colored jacket and blue jeans and was muddy and bloody. Wow, that's quite interesting. She further stated it appeared he had gotten into a fight. Investigators were able to determine from watching the video from the Hoosier Harvest store that Redacted was traveling on County Road 300 North at approximately 3:57 p.m. That is another interesting piece of information. Not only did they find an unspent bullet at the scene between the girls, this witness saw a man in that same kind of outfit, blue, black, muddy and bloody, and leaving the area. I mean, that's not usual at all. Through interviews, electronic data, photographs, and video from the Hoosier Harvest store, investigators determined that there were other people on the trail that day after 2:13 p.m. Those people were interviewed, and none of these individuals encountered the male subject referenced above, witnessed by the juvenile girls, Redacted and Redacted. Further, none of these individuals witnessed victim 1 or victim 2. So yeah, it would have been a busy day because they said it was a snow day for the kids. So from what we understood, probably a lot of kids were out there, and then it was also a popular trail. So I mean, I assume the locals were out there pretty frequently. Investigators reviewing prior tips encountered a tip narrated from an officer who interviewed Richard M. Allen in 2017. That narrative stated, Mr. Allen was on the trail between 13:30 and 15:30, so that's going to be 1:30 to 3:30 because that's in military time. He parked at the old Farm Bureau building and walked to the new Freedom Bridge. While at the Freedom Bridge, he saw 3 females. He noted one was taller and had brown or black hair. He did not remember description, nor did he speak with them. He walked from the Freedom Bridge to the High Bridge. He did not see anybody, although he stated he was watching a stock ticker on his phone as he walked. He stated there were vehicles parked at the High Bridge trailhead. However, he did not pay attention to them. He did not take any photos or videos. His cell phone did not list an IMEI, but did have the following. And it looks like there's some information there as far as his cell phone. Potential follow-up information. Who were the 3 girls walking in the area of Freedom Bridge? So he states that he was walking around and looking at his phone. I don't believe that whatsoever. And of note, this would have been the time he would not have been working for CVS at this time. I believe he may have been working for Walmart, or he possibly was, at that area, but I could be wrong on that one. I'll have to look that up. But he was definitely not a pharmacy tech at this point. Investigators believe Mr. Allen was referring to the former Child Protective Services building, as there was not a Farm Bureau building in the area, nor had there been. All right, let me correction to what I just said. He actually was working for CVS because the Patties did state that he developed film for photos for the service and for the funeral. So, but he was not a pharmacy tech. So let me make sure I correct that. Investigators believe the females he saw included redacted and redacted due to the time they were leaving the trail, the time he reported getting to the trail, and the descriptions the 3 females gave. Investigators discovered Richard Allen owned 2 vehicles in 2017, a 2016 black Ford Focus and a 2006 gray Ford 500. Investigators observed a vehicle that resembled Allen's 2016 Ford Focus on the Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:27 p.m., traveling westbound on County Road 300 North in front of the Hoosier Harvest Store, which coincided with his statement that he arrived around 1:30 p.m. at the trails. Investigators note witnesses described the vehicle parked at the former Child Protective Services building as a PT Cruiser, small SUV, or smart car. Investigators believe those descriptions are similar in nature to a 2016 Ford Focus. So again, if you're not real familiar with cars, because unless you're someone who is, I guess, rents cars, is into cars and that sort of stuff, you probably don't know and you probably don't care. You just have a general idea. It's a car, it's an SUV, it's a truck. So that's believable as well. On October 13th, 2022, Richard Allen was interviewed again by investigators. He advised he was on the trails on February 13th, 2017. He stated he saw juvenile girls on the trails east of Freedom Bridge and that he went onto the Monon High Bridge. Richard Allen further stated he went out onto the Monon High Bridge to watch the fish. Now I believe that one. Later in his statement, he said he walked out to the first platform on the bridge. He stated he then walked back, sat on a bench on the trail, and then left. He stated he parked his car on the side of an old building. He told investigators that he was wearing blue jeans and a blue or black Carhartt jacket with a hood. I'm going to have to look that kind of jacket up. He advised he may have been wearing some type of head covering as well. He further claimed he saw no one else except for the juvenile girls he saw east of the Freedom Bridge. He told investigators he owns firearms and they are at his home. So he's telling some truth here. He's describing the person that these witnesses are saying that they saw. So I find that pretty interesting. And he's confirming that he has guns. And now he's saying he parked his car on the side of an old building. And back in 2017, he said he parked it at the lot. So, that's a little bit of a change. Richard M. Allen's wife, Kathy Allen, also spoke to investigators. She confirmed that Richard did have guns and knives at the residence. She also stated that Richard still owns a blue Carhartt jacket. On October 13th, 2022, investigators executed a search warrant of Richard Allen's residence at 1967 North Whiteman Drive, Delphi, Carroll County, Indiana. Among other items, officers located jackets, boots, knives, and firearms, including a Sig Sauer Model P226, a .40 caliber pistol with serial number U625627. Between October 14th and October 19th, 2022, the Indiana State Police Laboratory performed an analysis on Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The laboratory performed a physical examination and classification of the firearm, function test, barrel and overall length measurement, test firings, ammunition, component characterization, microscopic comparison, and NIBIN. The laboratory determined the unspent round located within 2 feet of victim two's body had been cycled through Richard M. Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. Well, that's interesting, huh? So he had that gun with him that day. That's definitely a little bit of an incriminating piece of information. The laboratory remarked, an identification opinion is reached when the evidence exhibits an agreement of class characteristics and a sufficient agreement of individual marks. Sufficient agreement is related to the significant duplication of random striated impressed marks as evidenced by the correspondence of a pattern or combination of patterns of surface contours. The interpretation of identification is subjective in nature and based on relevant scientific research and the reporting examiner's training and expertise. Investigators then ran the firearm and found that the firearm was purchased by Richard Allen in 2001. Richard Allen voluntarily came to the Indiana State Police Post on October 26, 2022. He spoke with investigators and stated he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer Model P226 firearm. When asked about the unspent bullet, he did not have an explanation of why the bullet was found between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2. He again admitted he was on the trail but denied knowing victim 1 or victim 2 and denied any involvement in their unalivings. Well, that's interesting. So he's placing himself completely at the trails during this time. He's saying, I didn't have anything to do with it. I have no idea how a bullet from my gun got out there, and I didn't have anything to do with what happened to these girls. So it's like he's putting enough truth into his story, but at the same time, he's not going to tell you, oh yeah, I killed him. So, but it's starting to become pretty damning to me that he's involved, for my opinion, he really is involved. I mean, my opinion is just probable cause is truly, I think it's damning for him. Carroll County Sheriff's Department Detective Redacted has been part of the investigation since it started in 2017. He has had an opportunity to review and examine evidence gathered in this investigation. Detective Redacted, along with other investigators, believe the evidence gathered shows that Richard Allen is the male subject seen on the video from victim 2's phone who forced the victims down the hill. Further, that the victims were forced down the hill by Richard Allen and led to the location where they were unalived. Yeah, I go with what the investigators are saying. It's coming together for me. It really is. Through the statements and photographs of the juvenile females and the statements of Redacted and Redacted were at the southeast edge of the trail at 12:43 p.m. east of Freedom Bridge at 1:26 p.m. and walked across the former railroad overpass over Old State Road 25 after 1:26 p.m. and before 1:46 p.m. They walked the entirety of the trail and observed only one person, an adult male. Redacted vehicle was seen on Hoosier Harvest Store video at 1:46 p.m. and leaving at 2:14 p.m. And she stated she only saw one adult male. Redacted described the male in similar manners, wearing similar clothing, leading investigators to believe all four saw the same male individual. Sounds conceivable to me. Like I said, the Puzzles coming together. Investigators believe the male observed by redacted and redacted is the same male depicted in the video from victim two's phone due to the descriptions of the male by the 4 females matching the male in the video. Furthermore, victim two's video was taken at 2:13 p.m. and redacted saw only one male while she was on the trail from approximately 1:46 p.m. to 2:14 p.m. Wow, they are narrowing this down, you guys. I don't know. The defense says that this is not damning, and I'm disagreeing with them. Investigators believe Richard Allen was the male seen by redacted and redacted, and the male seen in victim two's video. Richard Allen told investigators he was on the trail from 1:30 p.m. to 3:30 p.m. that day. Video from the Hoosier Harvest store shows a vehicle that matches the description of Richard Allen's vehicle passing at 1:27 p.m. toward the former CPS building. The clothing he told investigators he was wearing matched the clothing of the male in victim two's video and the clothing descriptions provided. Wow, you guys. He's wearing the clothing that's in the video and what these witnesses are describing him as. Wow, we're just getting more and more damning the further we go on this one. And the clothing description provided by redacted and redacted. A vehicle matching the description of his 2016 Ford Focus is seen at or around 2:10 p.m., 2:14 p.m., and 2:28 p.m. at the former CPS building. Through his own admissions, Richard Allen walked the trails and eventually hiked to the Monon High Bridge and walked out onto the Monon High Bridge. A male subject matching Richard Allen's description was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. Investigators identified other individuals on the trail or County Road 300 North between 2:30 p.m. and 4:11 p.m. None of these individuals saw a male subject matching the description of Richard Allen on the trail. Furthermore, Richard Allen stated he only saw 3 girls on the trail, who investigators believed to be redacted and redacted. So he saw the witnesses on the trail who identified him. Investigators believe Richard Allen was not seen on the trail after 2:13 p.m. because he was in the woods with victim 1 and victim 2. An unspent .40 caliber round between the bodies of victim 1 and victim 2 was forensically determined to have been cycled through Richard Allen's Sig Sauer Model P226. The Sig Sauer Model P226 was found at Richard Allen's residence, and he has admitted to owning it. Investigators were able to determine that he had owned it since 2001. Richard Allen stated he had not been on that property where the unspent round was found, that he did not know the property owner, and that he had no explanation as to why a round cycle through his firearm would be at that location. Yeah, that's suspicious, huh, Richard? I don't know how an unspent round got from my gun and near those girls' bodies. I mean, I was there, but I didn't have my gun and I didn't hurt them. So unlikely. Furthermore, he stated that he never allowed anyone to use or borrow the Sig Sauer Model P226. Investigators believe that after the victims were murdered, Richard Allen returned to his vehicle by walking down County Road 300 North. Investigators believe he was seen by redacted walking back to his vehicle on County Road 300 North with clothes that were muddy and bloody. So suspicious. We all thought nobody saw him. He was totally seen. Redacted, along with investigators, believe the statements made by witnesses because the statements corroborate the timeline of the death, the 2 victims, as well as coincide with the admissions made by Richard Allen. Further, the accounts relayed by redacted and redacted are similar in nature, and timestamps on photographs taken by redacted correspond to the times a juvenile female said they were on the trail and saw the male individual. Wow. All right, so this is the end of page 7. And this is what they released. And there was something else that was put out. Let me see if I can locate it real quick. So this was what else was released. I don't think this is page 8. These are the 2 counts that Richard Allen has been charged with. There's 2 counts. Obviously, they're unaliving, a felony, as far as Abby and Libby. So you have count 1, states Nicholas C. McClelland, being first duly sworn upon his oath, says the above on On or about February 13th, 2017, in the county of Carroll, the state of Indiana, Richard M. Allen did unalive another human being to witness victim 1 while omitting or attempting to commit kidnapping of victim 1, all of which is contrary to the form of the statute in such cases made and provided to witness 1C 35-42-1 and against the peace and dignity of the state of Indiana. I affirm under the penalty of perjury as specified in 1C 35-44-1-2-1 that the foregoing representation are true. Sorry, it's hard to read and I did not blow this up. So approved on this date, October 27th, 2022. My term expires December 31st, 2022. And that's for Abby. And let me just pull up. It says the same thing for Libby. But let me just, they don't state them. They state them as victim 1 and victim 2, just to be clear, just as they stated in the probable cause affidavit. So again, this is the same thing. It's just count 2. So 1 is for Abby and 1 is for Libby. So I don't know, guys. I mean, so what do you guys think? I think that this probable cause affidavit is damning. I don't know why they didn't release it up till now. I think redacting the names it made a lot of sense because, that there were 3 juveniles, which they're probably not juveniles anymore. That being said, we don't necessarily want to, put, witnesses' names out there at this point, especially if they believe that there was someone else involved. But the defense team was correct. They do not mention anywhere in that probable cause any other possible suspects that may or may not have worked with Richard Allen. So, and he did state in there that he did not know the owner of the property. Is he stating that he did not know Ron Logan, or which is of course of the property where they were located? So he's got to be talking about Logan. I mean, that's what I gotta believe. But so did he act alone? Was Richard totally alone in this? Did he use the gun and just chase the girls? And was he just a lone gunman sort of thing? And we still obviously don't know what happened to the girls. And I'll be honest, I don't really need to know. We don't really need to know that. That's horrific. We know enough from the information when they were doing the search warrant for Ron Logan's place, about the crime scene itself. And I've gone over that as well. And that's all over if you want to read it, if you haven't already. But I don't know. I mean, do you think Richard acted alone? Do you think it's still related to the Anthony Shots thing? I mean, do we think this has got something to do with SA? I don't know. I mean, it is kind of suspicious to me that Kagan Klein starts talking and gets, this starts all happening, falling apart, and he starts getting 5 counts dropped out of his, child charges. So, are these related, or is just the timing is just coincidental? Makes you wonder. And then, as much as a lot of people still want to pull Ron Logan's name out of it, you got to kind of keep the guy's name in to a degree, because regardless of whether the phone pings, the GPS and all that sort of stuff, and yes, he lived there and all that, but, I mean, he lived there, so if he didn't have anything, say he didn't have anything to do with unaliving them, did he come across them later on and just go, oh crap, and and take off? But the fact that he lied to the investigators and all that, his alibi and that sort of thing, that doesn't help him at all. So I don't know. I mean, I have to say, you got to keep his name in the mix, as well as you got to keep Kagan Klein's name in the mix, and maybe Tony. I don't know. He has a horrific enough past that we've learned about through Murder Sheet and all that, recent months, that makes you wonder, is the Klein family involved? They're involved in some sketchy stuff, whether or not it's related to the Delphi with the girls here. So I don't know. So what do you guys think? Do you think that this is pretty damning? Do you think that we got something going on here? I mean, there's a lot of information that I think that was new. I mean, I don't know if um, they needed to keep it sealed. Um, at the same time, hopefully that doesn't impact anything, but I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to cause any problems with the investigation. So hopefully, the state has all their ducks in a row. And again, they don't mention, a cohort or cohorts with Richard Allen. And you have to figure, the more people involved, it's harder to keep it a secret. It's harder to go, hey, let's keep this secret, and almost 6 years later, I mean, this guy has pretty much, like, they said he's been living in plain, he's been hiding in plain sight. So, and unless they prove that somehow his wife, Kathy, knew, I don't believe she knew at all. And they're saying, oh, he'd come home and he knows she'd see him. If he honestly, if he did this, do you think he's gonna come home all muddy and bloody and let his wife see all that? Come on, guys. If you, I watch a lot of ID channel and all that, and let me tell you, there have been families who've had serial killers and awful people that have been their spouses and their fathers and that sort of thing, and they were very, very good at hiding it from them, and they had no clue. So until and unless they can prove that Kathy and his daughter knew anything, I believe they're innocent. As far as I'm concerned, she's standing by him at this point, from what we understand, as of last week during this hearing for this unsealing. And I guess we'll see if she still stands by him in February when he has his bail hearing. Is she going to keep standing by him all the way through, or is she going to eventually just go, man, there's just too much information here, Richard? I mean, I don't know. It makes you wonder. So, all right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments of this one. I'm going to look more into all this stuff because there's a lot now. I want to go back and start kind of piecing some stuff together, and I want to start looking up like this jacket situation and all this sort of stuff. There's like I said, now we got more info to go sleuthing. So yeah. So and again, also today, if you missed it, Richard Allen's attorneys, his defense team, has filed for a move to change the venue for his trial. They want it obviously to be at least 150 miles away from Delphi. They say due to all these people would know. And there's some documents on that as well stating, all the searches since his arrest and that sort of thing. So I think a lot of the searches were media and YouTubers and social media folks. But at the same time, I completely understand that, they want to take it away from Delphi area completely, like 150 miles away. And I think they'll probably be granted at least some sort of, distance from Delphi, I would think in some way. But all right, guys, let me know what you think in the comments. Hit that like button on your way out. Let me know what you think. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I would really appreciate it if you would. I'm trying to hit that 1K by the end of the year. That'd be an awesome Christmas gift. And in the meanwhile, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day and stay safe.